Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Brad.
I feel like that Trump hasn't been he's been in the news, but not super in the news in the past couple of weeks, and it feels like he's really taking great steps to get himself more in the news this week. We have super hot, super big Trump stories up front. A lot of stories I'm ready to sink my teeth into this week, man. I've like this whole Texas abortion thing has been gnawing at me for the last 2 weeks ever since I heard about this story.
Yeah, we got a
real mad.
We got a pretty full docket here, so there's plenty to talk about. Taking that week off is good because it's there's a lot of things that got pushed up to the top. Look, here's a couple of things that we aren't going to talk about. Just a hilarious clip of George Santos being interviewed by whatever that woman's name is. She's like a comedian, Zawe or Ziwe or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't watch the show, whatever. And that's no slight to her. I don't watch it. She did a really good job, actually. Kind of holding his feet to the fire, even as just as a comedian. She actually did pretty good. And it also is wild having someone like George Santos out there really just dropping fucking serious details behind sort of general political corruption on both sides, which I'm enjoying.
I will say regarding George Santos, we had our fun in the weeks after he was ousted from Congress, having him do funny cameos and stuff like that. Let's let him fade off into a prison cell somewhere thanks to the DOJ and stop giving him money. According to him, and again, he could be lying because it's George Santos, he made more money in the last 2 weeks on Cameo than he made in the last year in Congress, which I find to be upsetting. Not because I think congressional representatives aren't paid enough, because people are giving him way too much money on Cameo.
Yes, that is 100% it. Though I will give credit to John Fetterman and his team for hiring George Santos on Cameo to call out Bob Menendez for his political corruption. That's a bit of a genius move. I'm not mad at that. So that happened. Kevin McCarthy has said he's no longer running.
Not only not running, he's leaving at the end. In a week, he's gone from Congress.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that part.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's not even finishing out his current term. He's deuces. So again, dude, I told you. I fucking called that shit weeks ago. When
I was nope, I'm out. I didn't realize. Wow, I didn't realize he was leaving next week. That's crazy. Yeah. So that happened. Everybody's favorite Virginia Democrat said that he is no longer going to be Joe Manchin, so he's not going to be pursuing a re-election campaign as well. So look, those are just the little sprinkles of stories that we are just not going to dig into because there's so much. So let's get right into it. The big story, it wasn't even the biggest story until yesterday afternoon. There were bigger stories, which is crazy. Trump has been booted off of the primary ballot in Colorado. Now, this is the primary, but he will no longer, according to the Colorado Supreme Court, he is ineligible to hold office again under the U.S. Constitution insurrection clause. Makes sense. The 4-3 decision by the Colorado Supreme Court marks the first time a presidential candidate has been deemed unqualified for office under a rarely used provision that bars insurrectionists from holding office. Quote, majority of the court holds that Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. This is definitely going to the Supreme Court. The federal Supreme Court, 100%.
1,000%. So a couple things behind this decision. So first of all, so this was in the Colorado Supreme Court. The case had already been heard before the Colorado District Court, where the judge there actually said that they didn't think that that the court had the authority to make that determination. So the ruling got appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that, no, actually, it's pretty, we can do what we want to do. And you said it's a 4-3 decision. All of the justices in this case, or all the judges in this case, were appointed by Democratic governors. So it's not like a partisan split thing. The reason that you had the 3 holdouts is because those 3 claimed that without a conviction, they weren't sure that they had the authority to boot him off the ballot. Right. They were not disputing that Trump was absolutely involved with an insurrection. They were just saying, without a criminal conviction, we don't know if if this cuts mustard. The other thing that I thought was really funny is that because these judges knew what the next step was, like they knew that their ruling was not going to be the one that held the day. They actually, in the majority opinion, quoted former Colorado federal judge Neil Gorsuch, currently Supreme Court judge, literally quoted him from a case about Colorado's that he gave an opinion on in Colorado's election law, saying that the state of Colorado should be able to do what the state of Colorado wants to do in terms of what their election, like how they run their elections and things of that nature. Basically being like, hey, like if you fucking toss this out, like you are a massive hypocrite, which, you know, Neil Gorsuch, I don't think has any shame about being a massive hypocrite. So that wouldn't stop him at all.
Yeah,
but I just thought it was
that's
very
old
funny.
Neil. That's old Neil.
Yeah.
I'm the new Neil, baby. Come on. Like, yeah, no, he does not give a single fuck. Look, when this story dropped, I sent this to you, and you and I were both like, I'm shocked that this happened, honestly. Like, I'm actually shocked that they pulled the trigger on that. That being said, I'm not shocked that it's heading to the Supreme Court. Duh. Like, of course, right? But I do kind of want other states to follow suit. Like, even if it gets struck down, I just want other states to be like, you know what? We ain't on that shit.
Well, and that's going to be that. I think if so, we should talk about like what's going to happen with SCOTUS, because there's 4 possible outcomes to this. Okay, so the first one is they don't vote to hear certification on the case, and this decision stands. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to definitely have this before them in some way.
Absolutely not. No.
So once it gets before them, you have 3 possible outcomes. You can either have them agree with the decision, you could have them like disagree and strike it down completely. Either one doesn't really work well for Trump, because if they, actually one works well for Trump and one doesn't work well for the country. Obviously, if they strike it down, that's great for Trump. But if they strike it down whole cloth, then what does that mean for a future instance where this could possibly happen? Like that, so they have a very difficult task ahead of them. And obviously, if they uphold it, then that's where you'll see other states roll that out, because then they'll have legal precedent they can point to. The fourth option is they somehow have to thread the needle to say this specific case doesn't apply under the statute, and
that's the one they're going to go with.
I don't know what their argument's going to be. The argument has.
Does it have to be logical? No.
Yeah, because you're setting a precedent. Because you're setting a legal precedent, so it has to be somewhat consistent. I
would argue that if they're going to thread the needle, it'll be exactly what you said, right? The other three justices held on and said, well, we didn't get a criminal conviction, so this is basically an opinion-based thing. It's not based in what the law says. This person's been convicted of XYZ crimes. That's my guess is where they go. It doesn't mean that they don't believe that he's guilty. It's just that they're going to say, well, we don't know. Now,
but the amendment doesn't mention
right. No.
Conviction.
I agree with you. Right? Like, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't say you have to be convicted, right? It doesn't say that at all. It says
it doesn't even say you have to be tried.
No, it doesn't say anything that you were involved in an insurrection. And I think, if we're being honest, that has more to do with the court of public opinion. Really, you know what I mean? It's not so much an actual, like, here's a case, this is what happened, whatever. Which is also, deeply important. It's the most important thing to convict this guy in the court of law. But no one who's being an honest actor here, no one thinks that he's not involved in this. He is involved, right? So if they do decide, like, in a weird way, you know what, we're not going to jump in on this, and just let the Colorado Supreme Court stand, or their decision stand, I think you're right. I think you are going to see a bunch of other states, especially the blue states, are going to be like, get this guy the fuck out of here. This is our chance.
Right.
But it matters. It truly, truly matters. And we don't know the minds of these guys. It matters if they want Trump to be the leader of the party. If they don't, if the conservatives really on the Supreme Court don't want him to be the leader of the party, easiest thing they can do is go, wash our hands of it. It's not our fucking problem. That's a state, states' rights, bro. States' rights, right? Like,
I don't see how they can avoid not hearing it. Like I feel like just the merits
I think
of
they
the
will
case
take it
itself.
up, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if they are being craven, and they are like, we need to knock this guy out of this fucking situation and be done with it. If we say we're hands off, it's states' rights, and they would be well within their right to do that, by the way. Like, it's not even a crazy answer. It's just like, it'd be a shock, but it's not a crazy answer. If they said, you know what, we're done with this guy, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, and Vivek, they couldn't knock this guy out. Like, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't face him to knock him down. This is our chance to, while not doing something, make a huge dent in this guy's ability to win. And look, he may still win, right? It may not be as many states as we think, maybe not, right? Because, remember, Republicans have like all those like winner take all states and shit like that. Like, if he just won a bunch of like big states, he could still win. But if you had enough blue states, look, Democrats are smart, and they would all be plotting right now and being like, which of us could all pull him from, pull him off the ballot, guaranteeing that he couldn't win enough if you left all of the red states, right? Like, if you played it like that, it could be quite strategic and quite smart. I don't know if anybody's doing that. I'm a bit evil.
Well, not only that, but even if he wins the primary, this same rule and logic would apply in the general election as well. And again, it doesn't matter if he's off the ballot in blue states in a general election, but if you get enough of those swing states that have Democratic legislatures that and control that are just like, we're following this precedent, then you could easily make it very difficult for him to win in that case. It's going to be very interesting because, again, like, the Supreme Court's going to, like, they can't avoid weighing in on this.
By the way, it would only take Georgia and Arizona. That's it.
Yeah,
it's a wrap. If Georgia or Arizona did it, it's a wrap.
Georgia wouldn't, because they have a Republican.
That's true.
State control. So,
but
I mean, like, Michigan might, Pennsylvania theoretically could.
Kentucky,
like there's a lot of big states that
Kentucky could.
No, I don't think Kentucky would.
Nah,
I don't.
You really want to. Look, you just won. You got 4 years, baby. Like, you can do whatever you want.
but again, the governor can't do this. Like, the Secretary of State has to be the one to initiate this. So, Lisa, it's incredibly interesting. And again, this is one of those ones where, like, it's very easy to be like, oh, like, the Supreme Court will be in the bag, but for Trump, but this decision is going to have far-reaching effects that we can't see, especially if the decision is very broad. And you strike it down. Well, then you just gave anyone a green light to try to overthrow the government and then try to win, try to win an election through regular means.
Right. So. And look, we talked about, like, we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail later on with this Jack Smith story of him basically going to the Supreme Court and being like, listen, motherfucker, let's end all the bullshit. You going to tell me this guy is immune from prosecution, yes or no? Like, if he isn't, then let's go for it. If he is, you got to rule on that shit. And they took up that case. They're like, all right, we'll make that decision. So that decision is, I wouldn't say imminent, but, like, it's coming.
Yeah.
If, again, it all depends, and we don't know how craven are the people on the Supreme Court or who bends their ear.
I should say, how craven are three specific people on the Supreme Court? Not necessarily.
And that's what I mean. Right. You only need three.
Like, well, I mean, because I'm pretty sure that Roberts is going to vote with the liberal wing on this specific issue. I don't think that he's going to try to, because again, he's all about legitimacy. So, like, you have to worry about Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. Like, those are the three that you have, and you have to get two of them, or no, you have to get one of them if you want to. If you want to win this, so
right, it's an interesting question. Do I personally think that he should be disqualified? Yes, he's an insurrectionist. He is. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, you can make the argument all you want. Like, he is, though. Like, he is. He literally, we know for a fact, and he doesn't even deny it. He literally wanted to be in the crowd storming the Capitol.
close are we to him just kind of admitting this shit on Truth Social? Like he's been denied, and then like one day just be like, yes, of course I tried to start an insurrection because I had to save the country from Joe Biden and the evil Democrats.
That's close.
I feel like the whole, like I've been working on this, like we've been working on this prosecution for 4 years, and he just
said it out. He just tweeted it. Like, all right, can we just have the trial today? Like, we just get this done in 10 minutes, right? So it is curious. It's rather curious as to which way they go. But I honestly, it's going to matter who bends the ear of those three Republican or conservative court justices. Like, it really matters, and it depends on whether whoever bends their ear or how they personally feel about Trump being the leader of the party. You know, 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other, depending on what you think, how you think they're influenced. I think someone goes, hey, we need you to fucking like make this happen. But if they are, if the Republican Party, if there's somebody in the Republican Party or a group of people in the Republican Party who are like, we need to get this guy the fuck out of here or we're going to lose. Yeah, I could totally see a situation where they're like, I don't know, man. I don't think we want to get in the way of the Colorado Supreme Court, and it's a way to knock him out. It is.
Yeah.
Would people be pissed?
Imagine how much.
Yeah, they'd be super pissed.
Imagine how much insanity could have been avoided if Mitch McConnell wasn't a pussy. What, they could have taken care of this themselves. During the second impeachment.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. You should have. You should have.
Yeah.
You should have convicted him and been done. Just been done.
Or not. They didn't even have to convict him. They just had to vote on the provision that doesn't let him hold office again. Like he could have been acquitted.
That's right.
Still not disbarred from holding office again. And then we would have been like, he still would have been a factor, obviously, in this race, but we would have been not having to worry about him being taking president. Control of the government. So
I mean, look, let's get real though. If McConnell had the balls to do that, what he would have to also have the balls to do is not to weather a massive storm. Not people being mad. They'd be mad. They'd get over that shit. Like they don't really give a fuck because they hate Democrats more than they hate anything else. Oh, but Joe Biden's president. Like they'd shift that fucking hate to Biden immediately in the next like 3 months. They would be fine. But he would have to weather the other storm, which is his party losing over and over and over and over and over again for the next couple of years. Now, because of abortion, that seems to already be happening.
That's probably going to happen anyway. So
it's like, but like that's not his fault necessarily. So, and like how he sees it. So that's the one thing is if McConnell had the balls to do that, he'd have to weather his party just getting fucking destroyed. And look, I'm not so sure that's not going to happen anyway, because even if Trump wins the nomination and God forbid he loses, and I think that he will, if he loses, he's going to try to destroy the party, dude. He's going to try to destroy the party because it's not going to be his fault. It's everybody else's fault but his. And he is going to destroy that party and blame everybody on the Republican side who didn't help him, who didn't make him perfect, blah, 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 all that shit. He will. He'll rage against Joe Biden, of course. That's fucking – he hasn't stopped that. But he's going to destroy that fucking Republican Party. He's going to. And MAGA supporters will destroy it because they will want to break off into their own thing. If we didn't have the Republican Party, we would have won. All right, if you believe that, sure. Split off into a second party. Like, he will destroy it. Like, I mean, the worst thing for any Republican is that guy loses the primary because he'll destroy it for the general election. But him winning is also not bad. It's a no-win for them. So, that makes me happy, frankly. But, yeah, I mean, I was listening to I saw a clip of Scarborough, who I'm, not necessarily a fan of by any means. Why would I be? And, Joe Scarborough is like, listen, there are a bunch of Republicans, like, not just in Congress, but just regular Republicans who are, like, completely turned off by this guy. They were turned off by this guy the last go-round. They're even more turned off now. He seems crazier, more unhinged. He's like quoting Hitler and shit. Like, look, I know we like to make fun of, but there are Republicans who are just like, yeah, dude, I don't actually support that. If you could just stop quoting Hitler, it's just cut from the rich.
Like you have to remember that most, like the vast majority of people who actually vote aren't listening to political podcasts or, following this stuff with bated breath. Like they're hearing the snippets here and there. And again, like to your point, like I would imagine that most Republican voters, outside of the 30%, nut bar contingency that he has, don't like hearing him say shit like, what, like we're going to talk about him saying about immigrants and stuff like that later.
Yeah.
So
like even if they don't fuck with immigrants, they're like, ooh, don't say that. Like you gotta couch it, bro. Like you gotta couch it in some flowery language. Don't say the quiet part loud. But he does. He can't help it. So, yeah. Look, good. Look, you deserve all of this. Like you deserve all of it. To quote, to paraphrase Lindsey Graham, if we vote in Donald Trump, we're going to lose. It's going to destroy our party. And we deserve it. Yeah, you're right. You do. You deserve to get fucking wrecked. So Trump is booted off the primary ballot in Colorado. He
might not be the only one.
Yeah. So I also followed this up with the headline, "Local Fool Will Join Him." Vivek Ramaswamy says that he, too, will withdraw from the Colorado primary ballot after Trump was disqualified. You can actually, if you read this article that I have linked here, there's actually a clip you can hear Ramaswamy actually deep-throating Trump's dick as he's discussing this because he is such a fucking loser. Look, and he's asking for Chris Christie and Nikki Haley to join him. Join me in losing votes. No, you idiot. We're not doing that. God,
I believe the kids today call what he's doing the Trump glazing Trump, which is a disgusting bit of slang that they use.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick rider, if you will. He is. He's a fucking Trump dick rider, dude. Like it's utterly ridiculous. Quote, "Today's decision is the latest election interference tactic to silence political opponents and swing the election for whatever puppet the Democrats put up this time by depriving Americans of the right to vote for a candidate of their choice." Hey man, look, here's the thing. You can write them in if you want, right? It's probably a
no. You can't actually write-in votes would also be disallowed.
Well, I'm sorry.
So, sorry. There's a. I'm going to paraphrase. Back in the day, there was a notable entrepreneur himself who defended what people thought was a terrible decision that he had made by saying that Brett screwed Brett. Well, Trump screwed Trump. Like if he didn't fucking do an insurrection, he wouldn't have gotten booted off the ballot. Like, come on. Like it's not like they're doing this arbitrarily. Like they have a reason.
Is this episode entitled "The Colorado Screwjob"? I feel like it might be. Yeah, it's
the Denver Screwjob would probably be more. Appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But like for him to be like, no, I'll join him, dude. Like, pathetic. You are a pathetic loser. So Republicans, not to be outdone in Texas, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick on Tuesday suggested that President Joe Biden might be off the ballot in Texas as like retribution, because that's how laws work. That's how
what's the justification, Jay? What's Dan Patrick's justification for kicking Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas?
To quote this article, seeing what happened in Colorado tonight makes me think, except we believe in democracy in Texas. Hilarious. Are you serious? Maybe we should take Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas for allowing 8 million people to cross the border since he's been president, disrupting our state far more than anything anyone else has done in recent history. Hey, man, listen, look, I'm not a governor. I'm not even a lieutenant governor, as Brad and I discussed offline. They don't really do anything.
Yeah, they just kind of sit there and wait.
You're a governor in waiting. So, look, maybe I'm not as smart as Dan Patrick. That's a possibility. Here's the thing. I said possibility. I didn't say accurate. Bro, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you get to boot someone off the ballot based on a policy or a lack of doing something you like. Like that's not a thing. Well, Joe Biden, he didn't allow 8 million people to cross the border. 8 million people crossed the border. Hey, I wonder how many people crossed the border during Trump's. By the way, I don't even believe that number, but because they lie all the time. How many people did Trump let across the border? I wonder. I wonder how many was. Do they think it's zero? Like, is that enough of a reason for Democrats to say that? Like, I don't know.
Aren't these the same people who complain all the time about the amount of fentanyl that's being seized at the border?
Yeah,
by the Biden administration.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's childish. Like you don't have a reason. You just you did it to us and we're mad. But we're not doing. These things are not happening to you because they're just being petty. These things are happening to you because you're breaking laws. Like I don't know why this is hard to understand. It's really fucking weird. But yeah.
I'm surprised they're just not reacting in the normal way that Republican states react when they're mad at another blue state, and that's where they gather like 3 busfuls of undocumented immigrants and just bust them up to the fucking state capital of the state that they're mad at. That's kind of their passive aggressive way of shitting on, trying to shit on blue states. So
yeah, I mean, again, they're fucking children. Like that's how children react and go, yeah. Well, guess what, buddy? Like here comes these immigrants that we got. Like, can we have an adult conversation? They're like, I don't think so. It's not really what we're going to do. We're just going to.
And in case you're wondering, no, this would not actually happen, because if they did decide to do something like that, it would get fought in court, and the judge, even of a Texas court, would be like, yeah, there's nothing in the Constitution that would forbid Joe Biden from being on the primary ballot in Texas, so go away.
Yeah,
and they know that would be the case, so that's why they're not going to fucking worry about it.
Yeah, you're not going to do shit. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, next up, this was the biggest story before Trump got booted off the ballot in Colorado. Trump vows to only be a dictator on day one, following growing worry over his authoritarian rhetoric. I don't think it's rhetoric, guys. I don't think it's rhetoric. As Donald Trump faces growing scrutiny over his increasingly authoritarian and violent rhetoric, Fox News host Sean Hannity, stop saying news, gave his longtime friend a chance to assure the American people that he wouldn't abuse power or seek retribution if he wins a second term. So yeah, Hannity is like, you wouldn't be they call you a dictator.
By the way, how many times is Sean Hannity going to be Charlie Brown in this situation? Because we've seen it. How many times have we seen him interview Trump where he's like, surely you're not going to do this ridiculous thing that everyone says you're going to do. And then Trump's like, no, absolutely, I'm going to do that. Actually.
And quit calling me Shirley. Like he doesn't like it's amazing how stupid Sean Hannity is. Like you don't know this guy by now? Like you don't know this guy? This is your excuse me. This is your friend. So you say. Like this is your friend. You don't realize how unhinged your friend is? Like it's amazing how excuse me, that they buy into their own bullshit. Like they don't realize, like, oh, he's just saying crazy things. Dude, listen to what he's saying. He says, Trump, he goes, you're not going to be, they call you an authoritarian. You're not going to be an authoritarian. You're not going to be a dictator. He goes, quote, except for day one. I want to close the border. I want to drill. And he says, but after that, I'm no longer a dictator, right? We're closing the border. We're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator. Here's the thing. You don't get to choose when you want to be a dictator and then not a dictator. Because those 2 days that you decided to close the border and do drilling, which I don't even know what that means. Like you're authorizing it. Like
I guess like natural gas. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Right? Who the hell knows?
And also like you're doing the drill baby drill. Like that's an old hit, dog. Like nobody gives a fuck about that. Like this is really weird, right? But you're closing the border and then you're going to do a bunch of drilling. By your own admission, you're breaking the law. There's only a reason to declare yourself a dictator, which is to circumvent the law.
Correct.
So
and
you would
and-
immediately be impeached, by the way. You would day
Yes.
3, you would immediately be impeached.
He would be. The other thing is too, like, let's pretend like we live in a world where dictatorial powers could be ascribed to him. They couldn't be. They would not have nearly enough of the government to be able to do that. I know that we're probably all overreacting. After all, there is just oodles and oodles of history of notable dictators and authoritarians who were like, hey, guys, just give me the power for a little bit. I only need it for a hot second, and then I'm going to give up the power as soon as I don't need to be a dictator anymore. And without fail, like as if the fucking gears on a running clock, they always give up that dictatorial power. They never stay in charge as an authoritarian past when they say that they're going to. That never happens.
Just give me the power. Yes, my name is Julius Caesar. Just give me the power. I'm just going to march right into Rome, and I'm just going to give you all the power back. What? No, I don't think we're going to do that. And then we're going to murder that guy later. So it's like I saw people cheering this, like people in the crowd,
which is insane to me, by the way. Like there are tons of Trump voters who are just like, fuck yeah, he should be a dictator. I'm just like, do you? Like, I don't think you understand what you were saying. Like, you're just saying dumb things because you don't know what words mean. And how can you claim to be fucking pro-America, pro-freedom, man? Like, oh, we're fucking all about the land of the free and home of the brave and this idea. But you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, this guy should be a dictator. Like, those two things are not simpatico. Like, they do not work together. They're mutually exclusive, literally.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Republicans have always been pro this.
Of course.
Like they are absolutely more than fine with the idea of a dictator. I've long said this. Republicans love a daddy. They love a daddy. They want somebody that they can turn their fucking brains off and just let that person rule. That's what they want. And you could say, no, Jay, that's not fair. That's not true. But look at who they idolize. Look at the people that they idolize in the party. They're not the intellectual heft. They're the bullies, right? And I don't mean Republicans in general. I mean the people that they idolize. They're generally bullies, right? Or they look like a president on TV, Reagan, right? They want someone to look up to. They don't want a person that is hired to do a job. Because in the end, that person is hired to do a job. They work for the U.S. They work for us. But that's not how Republicans see presidents. They look at presidents as someone to, like, personally admire and admonish. And, oh, my God, right? Like, that's what the fuck they want. That's what they want. They don't want a leader who's like, hey, man, let me tell you, like, the way the world is. Let's all try to work together. I hear you and your problems. I'm going to try to solve them best I can. That's not what they want. They want to turn the fuck off. They don't believe in policies. Republicans don't believe in policies. If they did, they wouldn't support the Republican Party. It's a fact. Republicans do nothing for Republican voters except give them more red meat to hate whatever group they're into hating at the moment. That's it. There's no policies that the Republicans have put forth that helps a regular fucking Republican voter. None. $2.5 trillion tax cut for the rich. Who the fuck does that help? Doesn't help Joe Sixpack, who works at the fucking local pick and save in Kentucky. It doesn't help them. Every time Democrats come up with an idea that helps regular people, and sometimes they help, they help corporations too. I'm not acting like Democrats don't. But anytime they have policies helping regular fucking Joes, the Republicans are against it. And they've convinced regular Republican voters to also be against it. It's not on the docket, but the Biden administration is asking for, I think it's $4 or $6 billion to keep this like $25, $30 a month subsidy for people for the internet that they started during COVID, right? So people that are poor people still had access to the internet because we were all fucking home for 2 years. It's a pretty great thing to do for people who are not working, people who need access to stuff. You take that away from people, they get isolated. Look, let's get real. It's really for people in the fucking Midwest where you're 5 or 10 miles away from people, your next door neighbors. It ain't for fucking people in the city. You can get out and go see people, right? Like, but during COVID, everybody was fucked. But that is really helping out people, especially in the Midwest or in rural areas and stuff like that. Republicans came out and were like, we're against it. We think it's wasteful. To help you get access to the internet. The place where you go to bitch at Democrats about. These motherfuckers don't want you on there.
Yeah.
You don't believe in policies. You don't.
I mean, we also saw this during the student debt loan during the student debt relief fight because, we had people who were like, yeah, like we're just going to wave this flat across the board. And we had so many people on the left also that were just like, yeah, but this will also help rich people. Yeah, well, guess what? Sometimes if you fucking have a broad policy, it's going to help people that don't need it. But more importantly, it's going to help the people that do need it. And that's what you fucking and you got to help those people. It's so hard to micro target this stuff. It makes it take longer. It makes it less effective. Just fucking paint it with a broad brush and go. And you're right. Like that's not what Republicans do. Like everything has to be hyper targeted. It has to be, you have to jump through all these fucking hoops. Like for the one slice of bread off the loaf that they're willing to give you, which is usually not even sufficient enough as it is.
Right. So yeah, look. For me, this idea of supporting him being a dictator on day one, you have no idea. Like you said, you have no idea what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Because if he is allowed to do that, if God forbid, this country decides like Democrats go, oh, it's going to turn off, and Republicans are somehow able to squeak out a win for Donald Trump. Again, I don't think it is going to happen, but it could happen. And we should be keenly aware of that. If that happens, there is no going back. There's no going back. There is a terrifying scenario where this guy, you think does Donald Trump strike you as a fucking like, what's the most effective minimum dose type of guy? Fuck no, dude. If he goes, day one, I'm going to close the border, and they're like, okay, nobody's in the street shooting at each other. Cool, I'm good. Day two, we're going to do drilling. We're going to fuck Congress. We're just going to do what we want. And it's like, there's nobody in the streets. Everything's fine. You think he's going to give back that power?
Yeah.
After coming out and saying how he's going to punish his enemies? Guess what day three is? It's arresting Hillary Clinton. It's getting the DOJ to bend to his will and do the shit he wants.
And again, we don't have to.
It's insane to believe.
We don't have to you can connect dots that aren't that's basically as easy as adding 1 + 1. Who are the people around the world that he can't stop praising effusively all the time? It's Xi Jinping, it's Kim Jong-un, it's Vladimir Putin, it's Viktor Orban, it's Mohammed bin Salman. It's all of these people that have autocratic iron grip controls on their countries. And he always talks about them like, wow, like look how awesome these fucking guys are. They're so tough. They're so badass. Like they get shit done. They're real men. They're very intimidating. And what's the one thing they all have in common? They're all fucking authoritarian leaders who have an iron grip on their country.
Yep. It's what
that's what he wants to be. And that's what he wants to be.
Yeah. And look, you take that shit unseriously at your peril. You do. And look, this is why I said when people are like, oh, I don't know, man. People are really mad about what's going on in Gaza. They're pretty mad at Joe Biden. Just wait. Shit hasn't started yet. Just wait. This election has not started yet. We have not had a primary yet. Trump has not debated anybody yet. He's going to get worse. You think it's just going to be on day one? You think he's just going to stop at day one? Fuck no, dude. He's going to spread that shit out, and he's going to start to get, because now that came out, and people were mad, but his crowd liked it. That's the worst thing that can happen for him, for us, right? He's going to come out, and he's going to go, oh, they like that? Give him a little bit more juice. And guess what else I'm going to do? And guess what else I'm going to do? And when they like that shit, guess what else I'm going to do? He's going to fucking tell you all of the dirty shit he's going to do. You think that, what is it, Project, whatever the fuck it is, 2025 or whatever. You think that's bullshit? What do you think happens? He gets elected, that gets implemented, which allows him to have more widespread control of the government. What do you think happens? You think if they go, oh, we're going to investigate you, you think that fucking matters? Democrats are like, oh, we're going to investigate you. Get rid of Congress. I'm done with that. I'm done. Fuck those guys. I don't give a shit. Oh, they're all insurrectionists. Lock them up. What happens? What, you gonna put it on fucking TikTok and say, well, at least we're right about Gaza? Okay, man. You don't think he'd string up fucking Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and Obama? You don't think he would? I think you're crazy to believe he wouldn't. I think you're crazy to believe it. So I'm not saying that people don't have a right to be upset about what's going on in Gaza. I absolutely am. But don't let that be a reason to let a country that you live in become an authoritarian nightmare. Don't.
Look,
because you can't help shit when you're in that. You can't help anything.
If people want a perfect historical allegory to seeing what could happen, there's a taut political thriller that came out in 1995 that you can go rewatch, where a man took advantage of a leader being ousted, and took advantage of basically like the council of people, like Congress essentially, to open up a really controversial project because the city was inundated with crime. And as soon as he got control of this project, he literally used his robots to murder the entire council. The thriller, of course, is the seminal 1995 movie Judge Dredd, which you could go see the perils of.
I hate you so much. Law. Remember when they had that like I am the law off? Like,
yes.
Like Stallone is yelling it and the other guy's like law, and they're just like yelling law at each other. It's very weird. It's a very bad interpretation of that very good comic. The Carl Urban movie is much better.
It is.
So yeah, look, you should watch that movie and then throw yourself in front of a train because it's ridiculous. But Brad, in a very weird way, makes a good point.
Yes.
He's an asshole about it, but he made a good point.
Look! You let Trump become a dictator, and human cloning is next.
Yeah, it's God. Yeah, he'll live forever, and he'll just be president forever. Like, and people say that's like, oh, it'll be the last election. No, but it will though. Like that's not bullshit. But it will though. Like he'll pass it on to one of his fucking shitbird kids. Right, it'll become a dynasty, and you will have a hard time getting those fucking assholes out of there. You will. I mean, he's talking to his people about deploying troops into American cities.
Yeah, highly illegal, by the way.
Absolutely illegal. Absolutely illegal. Right, but he doesn't give a shit. It's the idea of allowing this guy to do whatever he wants to do is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Look, have we not learned anything? You mentioned the 1995 film, Judge Dredd. Have we not learned anything from the 1998 underrated film, The Siege? Right? Where what's the quote from Bruce Willis? Sir, you don't want to deploy the U.S. military on American streets. We're more of a broadsword, not a scalpel. And that's actually it's true. It's a dope ass movie, brother. So yeah, it's you've got to understand that like this is not bullshit, and him saying these things should not be taken lightly. They're goofball things to fucking say, but he means them. He means them. Like when somebody tells you who they are, believe them, and he is telling you. And I guarantee you, over the next couple of months, he's going to tell you more. And people are going to be like, "That's really weird." No, it's not weird. It's fucking scary.
I remember when he first ran. You had supposedly smart people being like, "Oh, like don't take him literally, just take him seriously." No, do both. Like do both things. Like take him at his word of what he's saying because that's what he wants to do. Absolutely.
Yeah,
had he his druthers, he would absolutely be like, "I'm a dictator now." Like on day one.
Yeah, and guess what? Ain't no coming back. Shit. There's not. There will be blood in the streets over shit like that. Next up, before we take a quick break here, Rudy Giuliani ordered to pay.
We're not talking about poisoning the blood.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. We'll do that before the break. So yeah,
Yeah.
Trump goes out and he's like, listen, guys, I think, it's just my personal opinion, this is a line I like to say from time to time, that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation, echoing a line from Hitler's manifesto. Cool. Speaking to a crowd in Durham, New Hampshire on Saturday, just 1 month out from the state's primary election, Trump says, quote, they let, I think the real number is 15 to 16 million into our country. When they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. He continued, that's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just to 3 or 4 countries that they think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. Incidentally, Hitler, I don't know if people have heard of him, used a similar phrasing in his anti-Semitic 1925 manifesto, Mein Kampf, or My Struggle. Quote, all great cultures of the past perished only because the originally creative race died out from blood poisoning. Listen, this is not language to take lightly. And did you notice what he said? Africa, Asia, all over the world. But let me just name, the countries with the people of color.
Notably absent, not Europe. Yeah, didn't mention Europe in there.
Yeah, weird.
So, and again, he apparently in another event, because in criticisms, I'd never even read Mein Kampf, which I hate, the meme where it's the worst person made a great point. Cam in the Discord made a great point where he just it's actually worse because if you're saying you haven't read it and that you just came up with this on your own, you realize how that's worse. And again, I don't think that he
which is weird. Which is weird because Cam, a huge fan of Mein Kampf, is very strange.
Yes. Read it cover to cover several times.
Yeah, several times.
But again, I don't even I think it's pretty clear also these aren't his words. They're Stephen Miller's words, but these are the people that he is having in his inner circle, which is equally bad. That's not good. To have people that have those has that kind of ideology and that thought process kind of literally whispering in your ear fucking worm tongue to get you to say this shit.
Best of luck, man. Okay, Rudy Giuliani is it's been ruled in Georgia that he has to pay $148 million in the defamation damages case. So, because he was talking shit about what are these women's names?
Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman.
Yes. The jury awarded over $60 million in compensatory damages and $20 million for the intentional infliction of emotional distress to each woman. Giuliani was also hit with $75 million in punitive damages. The amount was set after 10 hours of deliberation. I find that weird. It should have been 10 minutes of deliberation. Look,
maybe the deliberation was just they were hey, we're going to make him pay this much money. And the entire 10 hours was everyone in the room being yeah, it's not enough. And they just kept going higher and higher and higher until they got to an amount that they,
they're yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. 148. I like it.
And here's the best part. So for those that didn't follow this case, in the lead up to the case, Giuliani, when taking a deposition, admitted that all the shit that he said about them was a lie. He was making was making the shit up. The evidence in the civil suit was so extraordinarily high against Giuliani that the judge just made a summary judgment and was just let's just go to the fucking penalty phase because this dude is absolutely responsible for this stuff.
Good.
But then after this happened, so Giuliani said the truth's going to come out. I'm going to testify. His lawyers smartly were that's a terrible idea. Don't fucking testify. So he ended up not testifying. And then after the verdict was announced, when he was being interviewed outside the courtroom, he then said, well, I had reason to say all the stuff that I said about them because like the evidence, bore that out or something along those lines. Basically, he was saying like, oh, what I said was justified and I'm going to appeal this and this and the other thing, after already admitting that like he made all this shit up. So now they're suing him again.
Yep, I saw that.
to make sure that to make sure he can't fucking just keep saying shit about them after this fucking happened.
Yeah, like again, good money after bad, man. You just want to throw your money away. You only got like 9 nickels to rub together here. It's fine, whatever. I love that these black women are getting their money.
Keep putting him in front of a camera. Like he fucks up so hard when he has a camera in front of him. Yep. Just keep doing it, please.
As you are known to say, has anyone fallen from grace further than Rudy Giuliani? At this point, I'm not sure there is. Like
another couple rungs down the fucking ladder, getting levied with $150 million civil judgment against you for defamation. Just keep like I said, just when I thought we found the bottom. Like Giuliani had dug through the Earth's core. Like that's how far down he had dug. Now he's looking to come out of the other side of the planet.
He's got work in China coming up. Like this guy is a walking disaster. But remember, to quote him, "I'm going down with the ship." Okay. Like, bro, you are well past the fucking around. You are solidly in the finding out portion of our game show. And look, I love it. I hope they win again. I hope this guy gets look, this is just one case. He has other pending cases. Like, he in a world of trouble. So, all right, bro. Like, best of luck. Go down with the ship. Because I can tell you, Trump's not going down with the ship. If he sees that ship sinking, he's going to throw your ass right the fuck off of it. Like,
dude, I swear to God, when he fucking dies, if the first paragraph is him shepherding the fucking city of New York through 9/11, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Fall from grace has to be the first paragraph of the obituary.
Yeah, absolutely. known loser. Rudy Giuliani has died. No one cared. No, actually, the first line should be. What's the all right, we're almost at the hour mark. Cousin fucker Rudy Giuliani died today. He did, dude.
Like I said, destroyer of small businesses, Rudy Giuliani. Fucking he fucking got a yogurt shop closed down just because they were lying about the fat content in the yogurt.
No, that's such a great episode. What an asshole. So yeah, that's look, he got fucked. And look, that's great. And that's a perfect segue into our next story.
I'm about to say, fantastic segue work. I'm so proud.
Apparently, according to the Daily Caller, who I don't like to quote ever, but an 8-second pornographic tape first posted Friday evening by the Daily Caller's website, because of course, was reportedly leaked from a private group chat of gay men in politics. The report, which did not name the participants and blurred a face that appeared in the video, claimed it was a congressional staffer in a sex tape, identified the setting as room 216 in the Hart Senate office building. So 2 dudes were getting it on in this very famous Senate office building where they do hearings. And these guys were just like going for it. Now, here's the thing. This is a bit of a local story for Brad and me formerly. This apparently is Ben Cardin, the senator from Maryland, one of his interns who was getting busy. Look, I know what people would say. You defend it, bro. Defend it. Look at this. No, I'm not going to defend it. It's fucking hilarious. I don't even have a problem with it. Good for them.
Like I said, who among us hasn't tried to have
a hearing room of the Senate
or in the office? Yeah, at work. Yeah, who among us? Let he who is not without sin cast the first stone.
Look, I think this is fucking funny. I think it's hilarious that we are now edging further and further into a lot of public sex situations inside the Senate. I mean, let us not forget when Ted Cruz was caught watching porn. via Twitter, which is fucking hilarious. Yeah, look, this is funny. You shouldn't have done it. Like, that's stupid. No. Like, you really shouldn't have done it. I know somebody will try to, like, slam Ben Cardin. Like, he wasn't in the tape. He didn't approve this action. Like, yeah, they got rid of the intern. Like, yeah, they should. Like, you can't be out there fucking in the Senate room, dude. That's crazy. Did you think you weren't going to get caught? Did you think they don't have cameras in there?
Yeah, they have cameras on all the fucking time.
Like, that shit might have been on C-SPAN as far as you know. What are you doing? Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Could you imagine?
Dude, like, we're back on C-SPAN. Let's go to the room before the senators come in, and we'll just play.
Why is there a $5.99 a month charge for C-SPAN on my cable bill? Like, it's a completely different channel now.
Yeah, I need it, baby. Come on, C-SPAN Premium. Look, this is funny. Like, it's ridiculous. It's funny. I don't have a defense. Like, you shouldn't have done it. Like, you shouldn't have done it. That's just crazy. Recently ousted Congressman George Santos, of course, had to respond, posting on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Fuck off. Quote, having sex in a United States government building and filming it is the reason you got heat. You being gay and having gay sex, nobody gives a rat's ass. Right, because this guy who got busted was like, they hate me for who I love. Like, look, I even agree with George Santos. Dude, that's not why. That's not why. Don't do that. Like, there are people who, like, you know, fought to be married and fought to be who they are, and I'm sure this person probably did too. And, like, they're still fighting that. Don't try to make you having very public sex at your place of business. Don't try to equate that to, like, the you know, fighting for equality as a gay person. Dude, if it was a man and a woman, they would equally be in trouble. Don't do that. Like, yes. That's a really shitty way of doing it. Look, you're a man, you're an adult. Own up to it. You did it, you did it. Now, was it stupid? Yeah, but don't try to be like, well, but what about me and my lifestyle? Don't do that. Don't do that. It's because you were fucking. Like, that's it. That's all it is. They're trying to make sure that one woman doesn't get in Congress because her and her husband had sex on the internet. You fucked in the Senate. Like, come on, man. Like, that's crazy. So I hate to say this, but I actually agree with George Santos. Like, dude, I mean, yes, people absolutely care that you're gay. I don't think that part's true.
It's not why you got fired.
But that's not why you got fired, dude. You got fired because you were banging it out in the Senate room. Like, that's crazy. Why you send it to somebody? Keep that to yourself. Just like, you did it. Like, just keep that to yourself.
I can't wait until now. Like, literally everyone that works in that building is going to have to, like, coincidentally, there's going to be an email when they get back in January. Be like, oh, by the way, like, here's these HR courses that you guys need to take about appropriate displays of affection in the workplace. Not related to anything in particular, but can you guys please complete all these things?
Yeah. Hey, how about not putting your parts into other people's parts at work? Please, for the love of God. But look, I find
yet not the most appalling thing to happen in the hallowed halls of Congress in the past 4 years. So
not even remotely. Not even remotely.
Yeah.
This one story is sort of developing, so I don't want to dig too much into it. A binder of highly classified Russian intel went missing under Trump. It's actually really a fascinating story, but it's still developing. The idea here is this was intel from sort of the Russia investigation, and they just took the shit and they were just like, we're out. So look, why don't you just add that into the stack of other crimes with the missing documents? Like, just throw it, just heap it onto that. But it's a fascinating story. You should read about it. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.